Hey, and welcome to Game Talk episode 28. I'm your host, Amin Mion. I'm joined by Connor
Hey guys.
and Michael.
I was going to cough here, but never mind.
The first thing I want to talk about is probably one of the biggest games coming out towards the end of this year, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Guys, the more I hear about this game, the more I'm just kind of like jaw on the floor, like how is this possible? They're cramming every single thing they can into this game, it seems.
Yeah, I haven't been this excited for a Smash Bros. Since Brawl.
Yeah, I don't think I've been this excited for a Smash Bros. Ever. I mean, they're just going above and beyond. And the thing that would cap it all off, there's still quite a bit they haven't revealed yet. If they reveal a full-fledged story mode, it'll just be the end-all be-all Smash Bros. Game.
Yeah, I just don't know how they could top that. Like, I can't. I'm at the point where I can't think of any characters that I really like want them to add that they haven't already added. Like, there are characters that I support if they're gonna add more, but like they've got everybody.
So let's just do a quick recap of the new fighters announced. First fighter announced was Ridley, right?
Right.
And Ridley has been, I mean, it's been sort of a meme in the Smash community to ask Sakurai to put Ridley in the game. And as we know, in the year of our Lord 2018, memes can be willed into existence. So Sakurai always had the excuse Ridley's, quote, too big to put into Smash Brothers because it's a giant like space dragon. But, you know, that's a stupid excuse. So he finally broke down and shrunk him and put him into the game.
There was
On Ridley?
There was a tweet recently.
I'm glad
right
he's
before the Nintendo Direct that announced Smash Ultimate and everything, or something like that. There was character reveals who made a joke about Daisy Ridley never being in Smash, and let's just say he's never lived that down. I'm trying to find the Twitter post, but it's been drowned out by Bongo Cat, and that was that.
If you had asked me several months ago if I thought Ridley would be in the game, I would say absolutely not. There's not a chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed it either. Just they said no so many times, you know? I didn't expect them to suddenly just change their minds.
But let's see. In addition to Ridley, we had some Echo Fighters announced, which is a new concept, which is really confusing when you think about it. We already have clones in the game, and now we have Echoes, which are different from clones.
Right, and they've only changed like one of the old clones into an Echo, right?
Yeah, Dark Pit is now an Echo of Pit.
Right, but Dr. Mario isn't an Echo.
Dr. Mario is a wholly separate, unique character, apparently, which I don't really get. But Daisy was announced as Peach's Echo, which I thought is cool. Waluigi was not announced, much to the
he was announced as an assist trophy.
Right, but I just find it ridiculous. Like, Waluigi's the next thing that this fan base is going to will into existence, maybe as DLC, or maybe in the next Smash. The outcry over Waluigi was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Like, why is this happening?
He needs his own game. He doesn't need to be in Smash. He to be the star.
He doesn't need any of those things.
He needs to be the main villain of Luigi's Mansion 3.
He can stick to his appearances in Mario Tennis and Mario Kart, and that's fine by my book. But what else? Let's see. Simon and Richter Belmont getting Castlevania representation in the Smash. That's pretty huge, I think. Any thoughts on them?
Yeah.
I was never that into Castlevania, but I've always thought it was weird that they weren't included when like you have NES. Because I guess NES is a Nintendo IP, but
well, the point you're making, Castlevania is a pretty
it's a lot of people's favorite SNES game.
Yeah, like Metroidvanias, like Metroid and Castlevania. I mean, that's where that word comes from. So
yeah.
But anyway, then a couple other additional Echoes were announced in the form of Chrom and Dark Samus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Dark Samus. That's probably gonna be my main for a while at least.
I don't think we need any more Fire Emblem characters, but
nah, we didn't before this.
Yeah, we have way too many Fire Emblem characters. There are as many Fire Emblem characters as Mario characters, I think. Which
Are
is
you
just
counting Donkey Kong as a Mario character?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
but that's just like kind of crazy to me. But anyway, just looking at the way Chrom plays, I think that's a very unique sort of Echo because he's sort of a fusion between Roy and Ike,
right?
Which again confuses the definition of an Echo fighter even more because this is he's not an echo of any one character. He's an amalgamation of multiple characters.
Right, which is
So,
weird.
but anyways, one of the other big announcements was King K. Rool was announced for this game. And that's another one fans have been wanting for the longest time, which I never thought really like there was a loud voice for, but apparently they were loud enough.
See, I didn't care for King K. Rool until recently. I started playing the Donkey Kong Country games on my SNES Classic.
I mean, he seems like a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
And I actually found out in one of the Japanese surveys conducted for who should be in, it was Smash Wii U / 3DS. King K. Rool was actually at the top of the poll for new fighters. So
Really?
there's a pretty big clamoring for that character. Yeah, that was that's another thing. These Nintendo Directs, these Smash Directs are so well put together. They're just like they couldn't be more perfectly well put together. They have a complete understanding of how to troll the community and how and when to reveal certain things. They're just bravo to whoever puts that together, which is it's probably Sakurai.
That and
Because
the
he does
most
everything
recent
else.
Smash reveal of Isabella
Oh my
didn't
god.
kill any Smash characters, but it killed the hearts of every single Animal Crossing fan.
Before reviving, before announcing
before
a new,
immediately
yeah.
reviving us.
So yeah, they announced the character first, then a new Animal Crossing, which I thought was a really funny thing. But yeah, we got Isabelle in the game, and that's the newest fighter we have so far. And what's funny about all this, Sakurai said when this game was first revealed, please don't expect too many fighters because we're bringing anyone back. We've already gotten quite a few fighters, like more than I thought we were going to get.
I don't know that he was counting Echo Fighters as new fighters. And, like, honestly, I'm fine if you just keep throwing Echo Fighters at me. I like them.
Yeah, Echo, that fine by me. The more the merrier. I wonder, what do you guys think of the whole speculation that there's a whole, like, heroes versus villains theme for this game?
I bought it for a while, but, like, I don't know.
I mean, adding Ridley for Samus and, you know, K. Rool for Donkey Kong,
but that's it.
That definitely
pretty much. I mean, I guess you have Dracula for Simon Belmont, but, like,
a lot of other characters already have their villains in the game, though.
Right, but I just don't think. I don't know. I think those were just highly requested characters that finally got in.
It could be. We'll see. But a couple other like big things I wanted to touch on. There are over 100 stages in this game, which is just crazy. Stages from previous games have gotten like HD remakes, except for the N64 stages, in which the old like polygonal N64 style graphics were preserved for nostalgia's sake, which I thought was a cool touch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, like when they first showed the character select screen in that direct, I was just like, are you serious? Like, it was almost difficult to see all the elements on the screen because there were so many stages up there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And you know what? I feel like that's not all the stages either, because there's still new characters to be revealed, and there has to be at least one stage per new character, I think.
I don't know if one stage per new character, but per new IP referenced. Like, if they added Waluigi, he wouldn't get a stage.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And Skull Kid probably wouldn't get a stage because Majora's Mask already has one.
But I still think there are new IP. I think there are new IP going to be in, like, I feel like at some point, whether it's DLC or in the base game, we have to get an ARMS character.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's...
There's no Switch representation yet.
Well, Cappy's in the game.
Aside from Breath of the Wild, Link, but... You know, like, you know what I mean? No new IPs from the Switch era.
Splatoon's not Switch. That's Wii U. Yeah. Breath of the Wild's not Switch either. That's a port from the Wii U.
I think it was more designed for the Switch. I think it was not a port, but it was actually designed for both.
Well, it was originally being designed for the Wii U, but then they kind of read the writing on the wall that Wii U's not the way to go. So they shifted the majority of the development to Switch. But yeah, another thing going back to Smash Ultimate, something that maybe a lot of people might not care about, but really impressed and floored me, was the amount of music in the game.
Yeah, I think that's wild. And because they're not just taking tracks from other games, they're redoing the music.
This music was, like, all of these performances were fresh performances for this game, which is just wild. There's over 28 hours of music in this game, over 900 music tracks.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's just and it's all like...
an obscene quantity of music.
And most of it is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo music is the best in the business, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no other music is able to evoke a certain IP or game, as well as Nintendo. I would say like Mario's theme.
I'd say short of Koji Kondo, like or no, Grant Kirkhope. That's what I'm
Okay,
thinking
yeah,
of.
yeah. Two very different individuals. No, but yeah, no. Like, you hear Zelda's theme, it's Legend of Zelda. You hear Mario music. Like Mario music is Mario music. That's the only way to describe it.
Right. Yeah.
Very very iconic music, and like I can totally see myself using the whole like iPod feature for that game. Like when they showed that girl like putting the Switch in her
Really?
purse and just listening to music. Honestly, like on an airplane or something, I could totally do that.
I see. I don't see myself doing that, but I do totally see myself like they usually give away on a disc or something. Like they'll do a Nintendo. They did a Club Nintendo giveaway for Smash 4.
What do you guys think of the limited edition of the game?
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind
I
of bummed that
want-
I already have a Switch and a Pro controller.
Yeah, I don't have a Pro controller, so I think I'm gonna get the one that comes with it.
They have special Joy-Cons too. Did you see that?
Yeah, have you guys seen the special GameCube controllers that they're selling?
Yes, I actually already pre-ordered one because I didn't want to miss
they're
out.
like, is it one of the
I
ones?
pre-ordered the adapter.
Oh, you see, the adapter's not what I want. They I at some point saw this. I can't find it again, but they were selling a GameCube controller that had a ZL button as well as a ZR button,
Oh, that's cool.
and it also
I didn't
had a
know about
C
that.
stick that you could replace with a big control stick. So like it could play every Switch game.
And that's Nintendo made, not third party.
I am almost certain that was Nintendo made.
That's pretty cool. Do you guys have any opinions about the new modes they announced? I know they're adding like just a lot more nods to the pro community in general. That practice mode looks very legitimate.
Right, yeah, the arc that it draws and everything.
Yeah, it's like
That's
on graph
huge.
paper, so you can like see exactly how far each move and like what the trajectory it will be if you do a light hit versus like a different hit. And I just thought that was really cool. And tourney mode is finally coming back. I don't think that was in Wii U and 3DS. Was it?
I don't think it was. And that and a couple other game modes I saw I was really excited for. Like the game mode where it takes the entire roster and you just keep picking characters, and every time you pick one it gets taken away and you can't pick it anymore.
But yeah, there's that whole. So there's one giant mystery still to this game, and that's whatever single player mode there's going to be. They have the classic mode.
You mean that blur in the Nintendo Direct before the last one?
So yeah, the internet detectives, took to that image and kind of de-blurred it, and allegedly it says spirits. So I have no idea what that could possibly mean. If it has some kind of story connotation, like then that would be cool because that would imply story mode.
I'm excited for the new classic mode, kinda, because it's every character has their own specially designed classic mode instead of randomness.
So that's kind of like Melee, right?
I don't remember, but the reason I'm excited for it is that it like opens the door for speedrunning Smash,
Yeah, that's true.
which is interesting. Like I've already seen people getting excited about that.
Yeah. Just based off of what we've seen so far, do you guys have any ideas like who you'd want to play as mostly, or who your mains would be?
Shulk main.
Shulk, really?
Yeah, I was a Shulk main in 4. I'll be
Okay.
a Shulk main again.
I really like the look of Dark Samus. I've always liked playing as Samus, and Dark Samus is just that, but cooler.
Yeah. And plus her moves just seem more glidey
Mm-hmm.
and like smooth. I don't know how to describe it. But as for me, I mean, I'll have to go to my like Melee staples like Fox and Falco. Even though Falco hasn't really been good since Melee, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I always hold out hope that he'd become good again. But I'm definitely eager to try some of the new characters. And also the Smash 4 DLC characters, because I never got the DLC. I've never tried any of those, like Ryu.
Right, Bayonetta is
Cloud.
very fun to play as, and Cloud is overpowered.
I mean, let's be real. Bayonetta's overpowered.
Right, yeah.
Like, extremely overpowered.
Well, Bayonetta got nerfed pretty hard.
Yeah, I just judging by like the tournament at E3, like Bayonetta annihilated. Like whenever the tournament match came up, whoever picked Bayonetta just like creamed the other person, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, so like one cool thing we can do is Yeah, we've had a lot of character announcements. We've had a lot of Echo announcements. Who do you think is left?
Um, I think Paper Mario has an okay chance.
So I don't know if this counts as spoilers, but there's been this image floating around of an alleged leaked character. And it hasn't been disproven yet. So it's yet to see if it's, if it's going to be revealed in a direct. It's an Echo Fighter, and it's Ken from Street Fighter,
Really?
which I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense. Another third party Echo, and Ken would be an relatively easy Echo of Ryu.
Yeah. I feel nothing at that announcement if that were to happen.
I mean,
just
I'm
don't
not
care.
really a big Street Fighter. I mean, what am I saying? Like, I've never even played Street Fighter, so.
Yeah, me neither.
But a lot of people are speculating that there's only 2 characters left based off the box art on the collector's edition.
Right. I don't think that is a valid speculation at all because Nintendo's already shown that none of that is set in stone. You know.
Yeah, like this stock image of all the fighters, like they straight up just moved some of them around to make space for new fighters when
Yeah.
they were announced. But considering that's true, a lot of people assume the last 2 fighters are going to be Ken and Incineroar from Pokemon.
I hope not.
That would kind of
me.
be disappointing.
Like those 2 together would be incredibly disappointing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not a single person alive who wants Incineroar, like who's sitting there like pining for Incineroar.
I know.
To
Like,
be in that.
if you've got to add a Gen 7 Pokemon, like, come on, Decidueye.
Yeah.
He's so much cooler than Incineroar, but whatever. That's just my opinion. But yeah, okay. So,
I'm honestly more interested in the stages. And items. They haven't really announced a ton in the way of new items, have they?
well, I mean, they update their their website, right, with new assist trophies and items and that sort of thing, like every day. Like they have the daily updates, but I haven't really looked into them too much because I'm a tryhard who plays with items off. So
See, I play with items on a lot, and I think like the Smart Bomb changed the way you play Smash Bros.
yeah.
If you're playing with items on, like that cuts off a whole section of the stage for a pretty long time.
Oh, another interesting thing. There have been quite a few references to Majora's Mask in the past few trailers, whether it be like an assist trophy or an item or whatever. A lot of people think Skull Kid's going to be announced.
I don't buy it.
You don't think? Wait, I thought you thought he was a shoo-in. Did you change your mind?
No, I don't think Skull Kid has a moveset for it. Like, because Skull Kid himself never did anything in Majora's Mask at all.
Yeah.
All he did was bring the moon down. Like, you don't ever fight Skull Kid. You fight Majora's Mask as a totally separate enemy.
I mean, they
Skull
gave
Kid.
Rob a moveset.
Yeah, but Rob didn't appear in a game. Like, it just seems different. Like, Skull Kid, they'd be making it up completely. You know?
True.
They
yeah.
wouldn't be drawing on anything. Rob at least has, like, an aesthetic that makes sense for him to shoot lasers or something. And, like, throw the tops, because that was what he did as a toy.
Do you think there's any chance of Skull Kid being some kind of Echo Fighter of someone?
I wouldn't know who it would be of, unless it was, like, a young Link.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, that would be what they'd have to do, like Ganon. They'd have to just make him an Echo.
But what about like the elephant in the room?
The Echo Fighter of Bowser Jr.
No, I was going to say Goku. When are they going to announce Goku?
They're never going to announce Goku. I want it so bad. But
It's one of those things that the internet keeps asking for, which like that one I'm 100% sure will never happen. Even like infinitely more than I was sure K. Rool and Ridley wouldn't happen. Because, come on. I mean, I love Goku as much as the next guy, but he's not a video game character.
This is a game coming out in 2018. I could see it happening.
God, that'd be so weird.
They announce... So, anyway, the other character I think has some inkling of a possibility is Dr. Eggman being an Echo Fighter of Bowser Jr.
See, I don't think Dr. Eggman's popular enough. Like, he's pretty iconic, but in terms of a fan base, who do you think has more of a fan base, Dr. Eggman or Shadow?
I just feel like it'd be... I guess, but Shadow's such a lazy clone.
I
We're
mean,
like,
that's the whole point of clones, though. That's the
but
whole point
Dr.
of the Echo
Eggman,
Fighters, that they don't have to pour resources into them. They can just kind of reskin them and call it a day, you know?
Eggman could be a reskin, but also be way more original than a Shadow Echo Fighter would be.
I agree with you, yeah, but I just don't think it's likely.
Mm. I just
Mike,
want it so bad.
I know. Mike, do you have any predictions?
Well, at the end of King K. Rool's announcement, King K. Rool and Donkey Kong hit each other like a certain scene from a certain anime.
I
It
was
had to do with 7 balls that may or may not be related to dragons.
I was absolutely thinking the same thing. I was just like, this is literally just the same scene as Goku fighting Android 17 from
It is.
Super. I was
Yeah.
just, I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to Smash, the conspiracy, like, you can't really predict anything. I mean,
Okay.
there are pages and pages of people literally picking apart what cushions were on the couch next to Sakurai and having that, like, pointing to that being like, look, it's a brown and green cushion on that couch. That means Skull Kid's coming. Like, and these people are not being ironic. Smash
Okay.
drives people insane.
Here's how it's gonna happen. They're gonna add the guy from Chrono Trigger into Smash, but he's gonna have a skin that looks like Goku.
That I think that is actually quite possible. Like if they add
A
Chrono.
Dragon Quest or a Chrono guy. Yeah,
Is his name Chrono?
I have no idea.
I think.
I haven't played Chrono Trigger.
I need to. I hear it's like one of the best games ever made.
I have it, and I haven't played it.
And plus Akira Toriyama's art style is always a plus.
Right.
But yeah, let's see. Are there any other characters? Like, I mean, there's just so many characters in this game already. I mean, there's over 70 right now. And I feel like everything already has representation that deserves representation. Now we're just kind of in the bottom of the well.
Right.
I mean, I don't have a big attachment to Animal Crossing, but like, was Isabelle a big deal to you guys?
Isabelle was only a big deal because it wasn't Tom Nook. And Tom Nook has been supporting that franchise for 17 years. And he deserves representation over that dumb dog.
That dumb dog is a princess.
The only other kind of guess I want to hazard, the sort of novel, the like gimmicky character, like Rob and like the Wii Fit trainer and that sort of thing. Do you think we'll get one of those for this? Maybe Nintendo Labo?
Oh, I swear
Yeah.
to God, Nintendo Labo's there.
Yeah, it'll be Nintendo Labo if we get one. Yeah. Because the moveset's obvious. Like, they have the giant robot, the cars, the, like... I don't know. It just seems
I
like
think it's definitely
the
a
most
very.
obvious choice.
It'll be very smashy if they did that, made that.
It'll
happen.
be Nintendo Labo, and you'll be able to control it with Nintendo Labo.
That'd be crazy.
Nah, there's no way that'll happen.
I don't know. Sakurai's promised that this is the ultimate Smash game. Like every time I have expectations or set my expectations again, he blows past them. So,
Which is what Goku's gonna get in.
yeah, God, that'd be.
Ahmed, what will you do if Goku gets announced?
I mean, I would just be in a state of shock. I'd just be like, what kind of weird timeline do I live in where this is even possible? But that's one thing I'm positive will never happen. So I'm not even going to dwell on it. But yeah, do you guys have any final thoughts on Smash? I'm so excited for it.
I'm hyped, but I won't get to play it for like 8 months, so.
I am excited for it, although it kind of comes bittersweet since, like, they kind of used it to market Nintendo Online, which has been such a trash fire.
It really is.
I mean, but that's the thing. There's so much content in the Smash game. Like, even if I never played online, I feel like I'll have plenty to do with it, you know?
I agree.
But yeah, okay, let's move on to our next topic, which, Connor, I kind of wanted to do.
A month ago.
Yeah, I mean, we're back from a pretty lengthy hiatus, but when our previous episode came out, you were talking about the imminent release of your upcoming game, Perspectrum, and now that game has been released for quite a while. I'm sure you've gotten feedback. You've worked on some post-launch stuff, like in terms of localization.
Right, yeah, I've worked on some localization. I actually made the intro area a little bit easier, just like a little tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
and a little couple bugs here and there.
So I just wanted to say, now that you successfully launched your first commercial video game, like, how do you feel? Like, how was the experience? What would you change about it if you could change anything about it? That sort of thing.
The experience was wild, really, like the whole way right up until the end. But the weird thing was, once it was over, it was just kind of over. Like, the only difference is I don't work on Perspectrum anymore now.
I was just going to say, just so developer people can get some context, how many man hours do you think was put into Perspectrum?
It's probably in the tens of thousands.
And how long would an average playthrough of Perspectrum be?
3 to 5 hours, probably.
Yeah. So that's an insane number of hours. Like, people say that if you do something for 10,000 hours, you will have mastered whatever that is,
Right.
And
I wouldn't say that I'm anywhere near being I might be a master of Perspectrum.
Well, no, I mean, at 10,000 man hours, that's across your entire team, right? That wasn't all you.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, but across my entire team, we're probably at 10,000.
But it just goes to show that the level of just grind and effort that goes into making any game, like, it's an act of passion. It's a commitment, and like, you have to put all of yourself into it, otherwise it's just not going to get done.
I overestimated. We're not at, I just ran some numbers. We're not at 10,000 hours, but we're in the thousands.
That's still extremely significant.
Uh-huh.
That's an extremely significant amount of time, especially because you have a job, you have
a job, school,
yeah,
a social life.
What do you think you would? Is there anything you would change? Reflecting back on your experience making it,
really, I think I would try. I don't know. My only issue is the only thing I feel like I didn't learn from this project that I would like to have learned is how to manage a community or how to attract an audience. And I think that's what I would change. I would focus more on that.
Does that go into like the marketing side of things?
It does, yeah. And I still don't understand that at all. Like, I'm at the point right now where if I have a game idea, I could sit down and start working on it on any aspect other than art assets. But beginning to market a game is still a Greek to me. I just don't understand it at all.
What you need is a publisher.
Right, yes.
So you said you added you fixed some bugs and added some localization support, right?
Right. Well, I'm working on that. That'll be done soon.
And after that's done, do you anticipate just being done with Perspectrum, or is there any thought of downloadable content or anything like that?
Nah, I see myself being done. I don't imagine I'm going to do any more work on it after that.
You're just tired. You're done?
Yeah.
As a learning experience, I imagine this whole thing was invaluable. It must have... What I'm getting at is the next thing you attempt will be infinitely superior because of what you learned in Perspectrum, I feel
right. I definitely agree with that. And it'll come faster and better and just generally more competently.
Well, that's good. Any sneak previews or ideas you're kicking around?
Not right now, no. I was working on a project for a little bit, but it kind of lost steam, so...
Okay, well, I'm sure inspiration will hit you soon.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of a short segment, but I just kind of wanted to address Perspectrum again now that it's finally out. Do you have anything else to add?
It's available on Steam, itch.io, and Game Jolt. That's Perspectrum, Perspectrum.
Okay, cool. All right, our last topic for today is going to be talking about something very sad that recently happened in the industry. Telltale Games has shut down. And not only did they shut down in the midst of working on one of their most beloved IPs, The Walking Dead series. That studio, they let go of essentially everyone, and that series will now never be finished. I just kind of wanted to bring up Telltale Games and talk about them and maybe discuss how and why this happened. I remember when I first read the news, I was completely shocked. I had no idea like the situation was so bad over there. Apparently, they never even turned a profit in any game release past their first one. So only The Walking Dead season 1 made the money. Everything else they took at a loss.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I was surprised by it. I don't want to say anything bad about Telltale games really or their work, but it just all seemed very mediocre to me, a lot of it. Like they had their big IPs and all, but that was it. Like there's no gameplay. And I don't and that said, like that's fine. You can have a game that isn't heavy on gameplay and just tells a story. But they had 300 employees doing that. Like it just seemed like way too many people to be doing way too little work to me.
See, what I think happened, and this is just my opinion, just my guess. I feel like they were stretched way too thin. They were working on so many like I feel like almost every other week I would read a new article saying Telltale's working on, a Stranger Things game, Telltale's working on a Guardians of the Galaxy game. I'm just like, where, like, you haven't released anything in a while. You're just taking on more projects.
Yeah, but having more than like 5 to 10 people on one of those projects seems absurd to me. Like they're just not big projects.
I mean, we can't really speak to that without knowing how exactly they were working or any of that.
I mean, I guess, but we can we can see like we've made games not totally unlike a Telltale game, and it's not code heavy, so they wouldn't have needed a whole lot of programmers for the entire company.
And they definitely, I think maybe from an engineering perspective, they were lacking a little bit because a lot of their engine was not exactly well renowned. Like the Telltale engine was the butt of many a joke. Like it crashed often, it sputtered, and like frame rate drops all over the place. And it wasn't really a graphically intensive game, so not really sure why that was going on. I think it was just poorly optimized.
Yeah, the Telltale engine has been the same thing since the beginning. And they really have not had any wherewithal to do any alterations to it.
Well, supposedly they iterated on it when Batman Season 1 came out, and it did look slightly better, but it seemed largely the same to me.
They really just kind of got lazy with the engine and just churned out game after game after game. Like, I feel like...
it just seems like a lot of mismanagement to me.
Telltale, like, people just got tired of the games because it was the same kind of engine, same idea, just a different license.
Because like when I looked at the Telltale games, I thought to myself like, oh, this game doesn't have to make a lot to like recoup its cost because they're very niche in my opinion. There's not a ton of gamers.
They are very niche, and I think I'm not really sure how they spent so much money on each one, but they certainly did.
I mean, the licenses are very expensive from what I've read.
I mean, they were doing Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Walking Dead. These are huge IPs,
Right, and I feel like they were saturating the market in that, like, I feel like there's just a lot of management things. Like, I feel like they missed that, like, there weren't, like, they thought that they were getting the Batman crowd with the Batman game and the Walking Dead crowd with the Walking Dead game. When they were getting the Telltale crowd, and the Telltale crowd couldn't afford all these games that they were releasing.
Well, I'm sure to their credit, they were getting a small section of each, but it certainly wasn't enough. And another thing, speaking to the whole mismanagement thing, like digging into this a little bit, there's a lot of like bad blood between the former CEO of Telltale Games, and apparently he sued the company after he left, and that, drained them of cash even more. Like, it's like a whole mess from a management side of things. And I think that's a huge contributing factor to their closing down.
They also, like, their employees had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, no, it's so messed up. When like I read that people like walked into work that day and they were like, you have literally 30 minutes to clear your desk and leave the building. Like, It was
and that's absurd.
No severance pay. Like, they were just like kicked out onto the street, which is just crazy to me.
And that's like, I mean, it's shitty that Telltale's doing it, but that's like classic game developer treatment. Like, there's a lot of talk of unionization because this is like one of the largest scale things that's happened. But like, there's a class action lawsuit going against Telltale right now. There's a movement. Telltale thinks it's going to be able to finish the next Walking Dead game. They think people are going to pick it up and make it. And
Yeah, I saw that.
there's a humongous movement to boycott it because of how they screwed the developers over. I'm hugely in favor of unionization in game development because they need the conditions are just horrible.
Yeah, and
Like
we actually touched on that on an earlier topic, but it's just as relevant as ever.
like because Telltale not only shut down, but it shut down even with like I've heard stories of humongous amounts of employee crunch. And crunch shouldn't be the normal. Like crunch should be something that happens because somebody messed up. It should
Right.
never be like expected.
But yeah, no, I've seen there are a lot of very warm gestures on Twitter coming from all sorts of game companies saying like there's a hashtag like hire Telltale employees or something like that. They're trying to scoop up everyone who was let go unceremoniously, and I think that's a really nice thing to do.
Yeah, I love that. But like I don't know. All these jobs are just gone. You know, they're going to move into other companies, but those are jobs that like fresh blood in game development. Like I just don't have a chance for those jobs now, you know? Like
Yeah.
I guess I'm probably not vying for the same jobs because it's mostly writers, not a ton of engineers, but still, it's just insane. This company going down is a tragedy. I mean, 250, right? Is that the number?
I thought it was like employees, like 300,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it's 250 people were let go. They kept some on.
Oh, yeah.
Keep, you know,
That sounds
keep-
about right.
they want to keep cashing. You know, somebody has to still be around to cash in on the games they already made
Yeah.
because they're not filing bankruptcy. I don't believe they're just shutting the
They
doors.
they were on the final season of their Walking Dead series. They just released episode 2, and now it's just done. Like, there's supposed to be 5 episodes to close out this season, and now it's just done, which is a shame. I mean, like the first Walking Dead game is what put them on the map. Like that game won multiple Game of the Year awards, and like it was beloved. Like it sort of revived the whole genre of adventure style point and click games like Telltale. And like what while yes, I realize that there are others out there who probably do it better, Telltale was they spearheaded that revival, and credit should be given where it's due.
Yeah, I think this is also sort of a cautionary tale towards the episodic model. Because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who bought episode 1 and 2, you know, under the assumption they would be able to buy the rest of the game later.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be smarter to just release the entire season Netflix style and then have it be like, yeah, you can buy individual episodes if you want, but it's all available right now.
I don't think that would work because the whole point of the episodic model is kind of anti-consumer. It's supposed to take some of the risk off of the publishing companies.
Right.
Like, you know, hey, if this doesn't sell well, we'll just discontinue it. Instead of spending all that money to make an entire game, we'll only make a tiny bit of one.
Well, they're still committed to making the rest of that season, so I don't really see the point of the episodic model, really.
I mean, that's not necessarily true. They're not, I mean, they don't have a commitment. They don't have to. There's no legally binding.
I don't think there would be any scenario in which they would be like, okay, we're just not making episode 2 or whatever.
I mean, that's the idea, though, is that they could do that. That's the idea of the pricing model.
Yeah, I guess I just don't realistically see that ever happening, even if it sold like abysmally, which apparently a lot of them did. Yeah. I mean, I think I've played more Telltale games than either of you. I've played almost all of their series, I want to say, and my favorites were Tales from the Borderlands and The Wolf Among Us. I thought, especially Tales from the Borderlands, I had no attachment to the Borderlands IP going in. Like before I played that game, I hadn't even played a Borderlands game, but I played it and it was just like a really funny, epic space story, and I really, really, really liked it. The same goes for Wolf Among Us. No attachment to, apparently it was like a DC Comics offshoot thing called Fable, but I had no attachment to the characters aside from knowing some of the fairy tales that were based off of. Really interesting, compelling murder mystery story, which I would have liked to see a follow-up to, but now will never happen.
Yeah, I've just never really been interested in Telltale games. I like a heavy narrative game, but I just never really got it, I guess, with Telltale. I didn't really get why they were games instead of like a choose-your-own-adventure book or something.
Yeah, I think,
or even a visual novel.
I think a little bit of gameplay would have gone a long way in their games, because a lot of their stories were really quite good.
Yeah, and I don't know. The reason I play a game isn't necessarily for fun. Like I'm not saying all games have to be fun and like action packed.
I don't know. I would
But,
say all games have to be fun at a minimum. Like,
but
why else
like
would you not? Why else would you play a game? It had to be fun.
I mean, not all movies are fun and they're fun to watch, or they're enjoyable to watch. They're just not necessarily fun. And I think a game can meet that niche as well.
But can you name a game that you enjoy playing that isn't fun?
Uh, what's it called? Papers, Please.
Okay.
I like Papers, Please, but I wouldn't call it fun necessarily.
Okay, that's an interesting concept. I don't think I've ever played a game that I don't consider fun on some level. But anyway, go on.
Anyway, the point of me saying that was I think there's no reason they had to be games. Like there's nothing mechanically that enhances the story. And I feel like if you're not doing something interesting with it, why are you doing it? And that's kind of my stance has always been on Telltale games. So I've never bought any of them.
Games as a medium, they're still so young and they're still kind of experimenting with what they can be. And this was just another form of video game. Granted, it obviously wasn't very popular, but it was a niche form of like, hey, like we discussed before in this show, for people that don't really game too often, aren't really savvy with gameplay, like, and want to experience a good story, these games are for them. But there aren't enough of those people out there to turn a profit, really.
Seems that way.
It makes me think like how Life is Strange and other games of this episodic narrative style are doing. I feel like Life is Strange sold quite well, but I can't be too sure.
I know Hitman released episodically and it sold very well.
I actually thought it sold under their estimates. It sold well, but under their estimates, yeah.
Because they'd released it episodically because they didn't expect it to sell that well, from what I understood.
Hitman's kind of different too. It's not really a narrative based game. It's kind of But yeah, I don't know. Like, regardless, it's quite a shame what happened to those people working at Telltale, and obviously we wish them all the best. And I guess rest in peace, Telltale Games.
Yeah. But not the management. Get out of the games industry, Telltale management.
Yeah, forget the management. Mike, do you have anything to add?
Like, Telltale really didn't have that much overhead either, thinking about it. And how did they lose that much money?
I think they just overcommitted to way too many things, and they didn't have the bandwidth to support that.
Yeah, they weren't a big studio.
I mean, 300 people's pretty big.
But they had like 8 different games coming out at the same time every year.
That is true.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they just kept announcing things like one game after another. Like at a certain point, I remember thinking like, how are they going to do all this? And I guess Telltale, the answer is that they couldn't.
It became for Telltale a case of quantity over quality because all the games
I agree with that.
Pretty much the same. And even like something Telltale was known for was branching paths. That went away. All the branching paths eventually ended in the same place anyway.
Yeah.
Sure, get the different place, but they'd all end the same because they had to have a sequel to make that more money.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen playthroughs of Telltale games. Like, the person will go a different way, still end the same way.
That's another reason I feel like Telltale games probably hemorrhaged money. It was like you could just watch a Let's Play and you got the same experience.
Absolutely. Actually, that's a huge thing we totally missed somehow. That's absolutely a huge reason that they lost a lot of money. People could easily watch their favorite Twitch streamer play a Telltale game or just watch the entire thing on YouTube if they just want to get the story. Like much more easily than a more gameplay heavy game because there's no satisfaction out of, actually playing the Telltale game. It's all just the story. So you could just watch it.
Like that's why even though you have like a narrative game, you still need some sort of gameplay or else someone's going to watch a Twitch stream of it. Get the entire experience right there. Or enough branching pathways of different endings that someone would be inclined to find the different endings.
See, that's why I think a recent game that came out for PlayStation called Detroit Become Human, I think that game did it quite well. There are so many different endings to that game. I think 40 unique endings, and the branching paths are actually branching paths. Like you can skip entire sections of the game. And it kind of does the whole Telltale narrative thing really well. It's like what a polished AAA Telltale game would look like, I think.
Yeah, it's what a Telltale game of quality would look like.
Yeah, I think it's just important to players that they're telling their own story, at least at some point in the game. So yeah, having a branching narrative is definitely key in something like that.
Yeah.
Where you're going to take so much control away, you know?
Right. I guess the way they were thinking about it was the end, like the major beats of the story will always be the same, but how you get there could be different.
Well, we see how that worked for him.
I think I still have one more critic, like Telltale in general. Like, they found their formula with their first Walking Dead game, and that game made it big. And then they didn't have the wherewithal to improve upon it or change up the formula anyway. Any time during the however many years they existed. They just kept churning out the same style of game. And it's kind of a warning. If you don't innovate or you don't change up and you just go for quantity, it's going to come back to bite you very quickly.
Yeah, I think though they were trying to like carve out their own space, you know, like these are Telltale games, these are our kind of games, and that's why they took on so many. They tried to make it like a name for themselves that way, but yeah, didn't work out.
Yeah.
So as always, we're gonna end by talking about games we played or games we recommend. I can go first. Let's see. I've actually been playing a lot of things recently, but I think I want to talk about Marvel's Spider-Man for PS4.
That game looks amazing.
Yeah, so Insomniac created a Spider-Man game for PlayStation 4, and I'll let this quote from the Marvel Games like head executive. This puts it best. This is the Iron Man 1 of the Marvel video game universe. Like, this is the game that will set the precedent for Marvel games going forward. It is a high benchmark in quality and storytelling and gameplay, and it's just excellent on all fronts. And it finally, like, it's been a long time since we've gotten, I think, great Marvel superhero gameplay. Like, I think the last great Marvel game was Spider-Man 2 for like the GameCube or something like that, right? Or the PS2, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And this Spider-Man game just nails it on all fronts. The characters are great, well developed. They grow really well. The story's really good. Good plot twists, good action, great set pieces. This is the most likable incarnation of Peter Parker I've seen ever. Like, I like this version of Peter Parker more than any of the movies, like including Spider-Man Homecoming. Like, this version of Spider-Man is my favorite Spider-Man.
Really? That's high praise.
Let's see what else. Insomniac, you know, like Insomniac as a developer, like I feel like they used this game to flex their wings at last and show what they're really capable of. And boy, are they capable of a lot. Like, there's boss battles in this game that are really cool and innovative. And there's just so much gameplay variety too, in terms of like different things you can do with your web. But I think the biggest thing is just how they nailed swinging through New York is the most important component for any sort of Spider-Man anything, I think. And they completely nailed it. Like, swinging through New York is like just about the most satisfying thing you can do in a game. There are times when I just boot up that game, don't really even do anything, just swing around in New York, because like the parkour system and the swinging is just that good. But yeah, like I absolutely loved it. I beaten it already.
You 100% it?
No, there. So you can finish the story in like, if you just blast through the story, it's like 15 to 20 hours, I would say. But if you want to do everything, like that's like 40 hours. So there's plenty of stuff to do in the game. And for fans of the comics and stuff like that, there's like dozens of different costumes you can unlock. So like it really is just a love letter to Spider-Man. And more than anything, I'm so excited to see where this leads. Like, obviously there's going to be a sequel, not just because it's now the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time, but
really?
Yeah. It also is evident through the story that they're clearly setting up things for a sequel. And I would love to see where things go. I love these characters. And I'm also excited for the prospect of a Marvel game universe. Like, I think that's a really cool idea. And like, now that finally Spider-Man has been done well, like I see potential. Like, Thor could be awesome. Captain America could be awesome. Iron Man.
A good Iron Man game needs to be done.
Yeah.
They came very close on the Iron Man 1 movie game. Was very fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found it very fun. It just really lacked content.
Yeah, but
it was very short.
Going back to that quote from the Marvel Games guy, like, Insomniac set the bar, and like this is what a Marvel Games quality game should be like. And now that Spider-Man has reached it, I feel like we'll be seeing games like it for other Marvel properties very soon. And
I hope
I
so.
can't wait for that to happen. Okay, so that's the game I wanted to talk about. What about you, Connor?
I've been playing Enter the Gungeon on my Nintendo Switch. I kind of bought it on a whim because a YouTuber I watch picked it up. But it's just this game. You go to a place called the Gungeon, which is a big old dungeon with a bunch of guns in it. The enemies are bullets. You pick up a ton of different guns to shoot. You're kind of managing ammo. And it's like a bullet hell kind of game. There's always a lot of bullets on the screen. It's a pretty good game. It's okay. It's like, I don't know, if you played a lot of The Binding of Isaac but eventually got sick of it, you might really like this. Or if you never played The Binding of Isaac but it looked good, it's a lot like The Binding of Isaac. It's a little different. I don't think I like it as much. I don't like tracking ammo in it very much. The game feels very stingy with ammo. It's not really fun to run out of ammo on a gun you really like and have to switch back to like your starter pistol in the harder areas. And it's not like, I don't know, ammo conservation is like a huge part of the game, and I just don't like that very much, I don't think. But overall, the game's really fun. I like playing it. I like having a roguelike on my Switch that I can just sit down and play a round of. The humor is pretty good. A lot of references. The lore is funny, but also like kind of interesting. It's a pretty good game. I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, something like that. Pretty good. I don't regret buying it.
I mean, I did see a speedrun of it at, what was it, SGDQ? And that runner just got completely screwed over in RNG.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It has this mechanic that's kind of unlike Isaac, where like even if you find a chest, that chest is useless to you unless you have a key. And I find that, I mean, I get it, I get what they're going for, but it's very frustrating to me.
Michael?
I'm just gonna go with an old-fashioned one. Have I talked about Natural Selection 2 yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, I haven't. Okay. So, I haven't played this one in a while, but I feel like I have 23 hours into it, so I can talk about it a little bit.
What was it called again?
Natural Selection 2. It's a multiplayer game, class-based, but it's unique in the fact that both sides play radically different from one another, because you have one side, which is the Marines, and the Marines are your stereotypical FPS. You have a gun, you have mechs, you have all this other stuff. It's really boring to play. But then you have the alien side, and boy is that fun. Because you start out as like a little shulk, you run around, you bite things, you get shot, you probably die, you move real quick. It's very movement-based. Then you can evolve into something much more powerful. You can evolve into a big one that just runs in and just wrecks people, if you really wanted to. It's hard to explain.
Is there, real quick, Michael, is there only one monster in this game, or is it a team of monsters?
No, it's a team. It is a team of monsters. It's not a fight, it's an even teams. It's a team-based shooter, basically.
Okay, I was getting it confused with Evolve.
It's definitely not like Evolve. It's like Evolve, but, even. But it also has this unique RTS layer where you have a commander who determines whether or not you win the game or not. Because they're in charge of building all the buildings that allow you to do stuff. But instead of being like a standard RTS where the commander commands the units are the players. So you basically guide them in a direction. They capture an area, you build a base there, and it works off of that. The alien side kind of just builds these organic hives, and there's like this kind of organic goo that spreads out as they build forward. It's great. I'm a hardcore alien player, so it's a fun game. It's really difficult. Like, you're still considered new at the game at 100 hours.
Jeez.
So it takes a lot of time to learn, especially the aliens.
Did you say this was free to play?
Because no,
Okay.
it's how much is it? I'm checking the store right now. It's not expensive. It's a lot of fun to play though. It is $10.
Okay.
I'd recommend it. It's
So
still
100
active
hours
and
before
open.
you can consider yourself learned.
Yes,
That's
you're
pretty
still
crazy.
a new guy you still have the newbie tag until about 100 hours in. So it has that much of a learning curve. But I picked it up pretty quick. Playing as like the Onos is fun, because the Onos is the big tank. It's very expensive in terms of resources, which is gained by the RTS element. My personal favorite is the Lurk, which can fly and is just a pain to fight because it can fly in, shoot some needles at you, and run away. You have the Fades, which are your assassins. You have the Gorges, which are your supports. They build tunnels and stuff, and are your healers. But it's fun. I'd recommend the game. I've had a lot of fun playing it, and now I want to play it again.
All right, thanks, guys. I think that's going to round us up for this week. I realize we took an extended break, but I think we'll be sticking around for the foreseeable future, and looking forward to doing this again next week, guys.